Welcome to 301 Banter. Today's guest is a Minnesota hockey product who's taken a unique path through the game at multiple levels. He got a start in Orono Youth Hockey before skating 2 varsity seasons at Benilde-St. Margaret School. He continued his development at Northwood School before moving on to the college ranks at Roger Williams University. From Minnesota Youth Hockey to prep school and NCAA competition, his journey is a testament to sticking with the game and continuing to grow at every step. We'll talk about his development, the transition between levels, and what he's learned along the way. Nick Palmer joins 301 Banter right now.
Welcome to 301 Banter, a show having conversations with the finest athletes across Minnesota. We delve into the trials and tribulations of the athletes, coaches, and broadcasters that make the sports world in Minnesota tick. So whether you're a diehard sports fan or just curious to learn about different people, join us for discussions and behind-the-scenes glimpses into Minnesota's vibrant sports community.
All right, Nick Palmer, welcome to 301 Banter.
Thanks for having me.
So let's again, we usually start these relatively the same way. Let's go back to the beginning here. What initially drew you to the sport of hockey?
Yeah, so I would say originally with my hockey career, so my dad played growing up. He was a Minnesota kid, played hockey in Edina growing up, and he didn't even force it upon me, but I remember when I was about 4 years old, he got me a pair of skates and took me out to a pond, and that's kind of where it all started, honestly.
Yeah, there's I think a lot of Minnesota kids that have a similar path. Where it's
100%.
playing with siblings or parents played and grew up, which you answered it, I guess, a little bit here, but again, Minnesota, again, that just is the hockey culture. And I like to joke that that's just the culture of Minnesota. Hockey is the culture of Minnesota. It's not a Minnesota hockey culture.
It is the culture. Yep.
How did just playing in the state of hockey throughout your youth and not even just learning the game, how did that help shape you as a player?
Yeah, I would say honestly, it was just the being surrounded by so many kids that kind of had the same passion and love for it as I did was what made me really love it even more, honestly, because it's obviously you have your scheduled practice times growing up and your teams you play for, but then like I can't even name how many kids I know and me personally also who had a rink or a pond growing up. So in the winter, it was like once you got out of hockey practice, you were looking for something to do, you'd go to your buddy's house that night and go skate on a pond. So it's just being surrounded by all that hockey culture kind of everywhere you look in the state was, I think, what really drove me to love it even more.
Yeah, for sure. I think the yeah, just that accessibility to playing is um it for any sport, I guess it makes it a lot easier to grow up with it and get good at it. So
Yep.
you played youth hockey in Orono, and what are your earliest memories from playing at Orono in youth hockey?
Yeah. So I'd say my earliest memories. So I played there from all the way through from mites through Bantams. So I was there up until high school. I'd say my biggest memories. I mean, I remember everything from that was kind of my first place I played organized hockey and kind of got a hockey stick in my hands and really learned the physical game outside of like skating on a pond. But then once I got like equipment and started to really play the game, that's kind of where it all started. So that was my big memories of it. And then just growing up in the youth program, like some of those kids I played with when I was 8 years old are still really good buddies of mine today, which is awesome. And I'd say just meeting all those kids and you still it's a small town, so you still see them around every day, and you can share memories and moments from all that stuff just growing up. I'd say is kind of my favorite part of it all.
And Orono too, even if it's not, even if they don't end up going to like high school at Orono, the youth program seems to, especially around your age, seems to just produce a lot of collegiate and future NHL talent too. So it's seems like a great youth program to produce the higher level of talent there too. So
100%. Yep.
um, you were actually one of those kids that played youth hockey at Orono and then ended up going to the private school Benilde-St. Margaret's for high school. What did playing at the um, high school and like varsity level teach you about like just competing at a higher level?
Yeah. I would say the big thing for me with that is, I mean, I think it's obviously every level you play hockey, that next level is always a step up in some aspect. But I think the varsity level, even like it wasn't just a step up. Obviously, it's a step up the level of play from JV or Bantams, like whatever was behind it. But the big thing for me, I think it was just a step up in terms of it felt like it mattered just a little bit more. Obviously, all youth kids in Minnesota, you go to the state tournament, you kind of dream of like, hey, this is my goal growing up. I'd love to play here in front of all these people. And then once you finally get to that high school level, you're like, this is what your goal is set on, trying to get to that tournament and play in front of everybody and eventually win that championship. So I think that's what really made it matter so much to me and all my teammates. It was like we had kind of such a cool opportunity in front of us, and you're like, this is what we're striving for to try and get to the state tournament.
Yeah, and I think a lot of kids again in Minnesota, like you said, have that similar feeling of we want to be one of the last, eight teams at either the single A or double A level that are playing at the XL Energy Center. Like there's um, only 16 teams across the state, across the two levels get to say that. And
Yep.
um, like there's for the double A championships, there's 20,000 people in the stadium that holds 18,500. And so it's clearly just um matters to Minnesotans. It's an important thing in the state of hockey. So
Yeah,
um yeah, I think that just being a goal for every kid is matters a lot.
for
Um
sure. No, it totally matters a ton. And I'd say, yeah, I think it's part of it too is like you kind of just you feel like it's as fun as it is for the players, it's also like your whole school. Like kids get school off and all the people supporting the team, like everybody wants you to get down there. So you feel like you have a whole kind of community behind you. And obviously at a private school it's a little smaller, but I know like for my buddies, they spoke to it at like the public schools, like everybody in the town's behind you. So it becomes a really big deal, I feel like.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's again massive. And there's a lot of kids that are um skipping school too, even if their team's not in it to go to the state tournament. So like it's still a massive deal, even if it even if you're not supporting your team. So
Yep.
um you're currently playing Division 3 hockey at Roger Williams. What has surprised you most about that transition to the collegiate level?
Yeah, I would say for me so far, since yeah, this is my first year playing, so the biggest change for me, I think, is just like the maturity of everyone in the game, if that makes sense. Everyone's a lot older, so it's bigger, stronger, faster, but just the way kids are thinking the game at this level is really high. So you have to make sure, like everybody's obviously skilled, so there's that factor, but just being able to have your best like little details within the game is super super important in order to succeed because if those are off you kind of can get exposed. So there's a lot of just those little mental cues and all that to kind of stay sharp and everything. But that's been the biggest adjustment for me personally.
Yeah. Um, so I guess this is kind of a follow up to that
Hmm.
one too, is just, and maybe it is the exact exact same thing, but um, and I'm sure too that this answer, if we ask you in your senior year versus your freshman year, it's probably going to be a different answer. But how has your play style evolved since you started at Roger Williams?
Yeah. I would say my play style, I think for me, I've always been like I like to use my feet. I like to like skate with the puck and everything and try and, make plays when I can. And I obviously try and do that as much as I can still. But the big thing I think I've had to change is sometimes the simple play can always be the best play. And at this level, it's hard to beat guys. You know what I mean? Like it's what like moving the puck right away and making that simple play is critical a lot of the time. So for me, just trying to make that first simple play I can has been kind of an adjustment because at lower levels you can get away with a little bit more, but once you get to the collegiate level, everyone's pretty good. So it's kind of like you got to trust your teammates and yourself to just make the best play for the team. And I think that's been the big adjustment. Just kind of instead of taking the puck up and trying to maybe score on a play, just making that first pass, getting a change quick while you can, just those simple little things like that.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier, like just the going up any level, the transition from any level to the next level above it um is a like a step up. And I think part of that is because every kid at that level was the stud on their team in the previous level. Like every kid on the at the collegiate level was a stud on their high school team. So it's like you're not getting around that. Like
Right.
everybody is good at the next level. And like it's from some of the people we talked to Nate Prosser uh, about a year ago now, but he was saying like, yeah, everybody is good at the NHL level. Like everybody was the stud on their college team at the NHL
Hmm.
level. So again, it's just you kind of wean out the the kids that are just barely getting by. And so yeah, it makes sense that it's just better competition because you are moving up
Yeah.
to higher level.
Yeah, totally. And I think, and another thing within that is just the role everybody plays on a team. Like there's kids who obviously were like power play players or were kind of big goal scorers on their prior team. And then they come in and their role is more of a like third or fourth line, like grind it out, get the puck in, like kill penalties. You know what I mean? So every kid kind of, once you get to those higher levels, roles can change and you kind of have to do your best with whatever role you're given and try and be the best player you can be within what that role is.
Right, right. Um, so how like you are a student athlete now. So how do you balance the two sides of that title, be like the academic side and the athletic side?
Yeah, I would say it's been a fairly smooth transition so far with it because obviously I think even in high school and everything we were always busy, so there was a lot of time management with it. Obviously, homework wasn't quite the same as it is in college, but I think being able, what I've realized with college, they do still give you some free time. So, and it all just comes down to how you manage that time. And for me, it's kind of we have practice in the mornings, usually around like 8 to 10 a.m. And then once we get back from that, classes kind of start up, and you can have them at whatever point the rest of the day, depending on everyone's schedules. So for me, I'll usually get through all those classes and then have either some downtime that day or maybe have a lighter class day the following day where I can really focus in on that homework and what I need to get done. So I think it's all you just get into a routine and you start to kind of figure out what works, and that's what I've been doing at least, and it's been going pretty smooth so far. So
Yeah, I think that's the biggest transition piece for regardless if you're the balancing both, like just the biggest transition to college is high school was so structured. It was go to this class
Hmm.
and this class and this class, then practice, and then homework, and then
Yep.
dinner, and then you're going to bed. Like that's the day in high school. But now it's like, well, you've got practice for 2 hours, and then you've got a 6 hour break, and then
Yeah.
you've got your first class. And so then what do you do in that free time? So again, I think that's a massive piece of it too. So yeah.
100%. Yep.
So when you look back at your hockey career, and fingers crossed, knocked on wood, it's not done yet. So
Yep.
um, who has had the biggest impact on your career up to this point?
Yeah. I would say overall, like I've had some incredible coaches that have helped, push me and just to get me to where I am today, honestly, from all the different levels. But I think my dad, honestly, is the one who's been with me the whole way through it all. Like coaches change at every level, and I've had, like I said, some great ones, but just like your family, like even my mom too, and brother and everyone in my family, but specifically my dad, just because he was the one that got me into it, and it's kind of like every step of my hockey journey, he's been kind of right by my side. So I don't think I would be where I am today without his help and just general guidance and support, honestly.
Yeah, you can't have an evolving career if you never get into it in the first place.
Yeah, totally. And I
um,
think just his, like, I think just like his advice, like, there is, a time where I'm like, okay, like it's high school. Do I want to continue on? And he was kind of like the one that he threw it out there of like, well, it's one of those things like you're capable of it, and it's something that no one can ever take away from you, and you get one shot at that, right? You can't decide in 5 years you wanted to play college hockey. So I think he kind of helped guide me and get me thinking about the decision, and I'm really glad I kind of ended up doing what I did. So
for sure, for sure. Yeah, you can look back, or you can, as you're going through, you can decide not to. You can decide to stop playing hockey at some point if
right,
that's the case. But a lot harder to, as you're going through college, to come back to hockey after
right.
taking time off. So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So the final question here, and then we'll let you go. Um, is again a question we ask everybody, um, and that what is the advice that you have for young hockey players looking to play past the youth and high school levels?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say my biggest piece of advice I think I could give those kids is, for me, at the end of the day, like hockey is, it's a part of your life, but it isn't your entire life. But how I look at it is I want to play hockey as long as I can when I'm having fun. And some guys, even at the like younger levels, treat it like it's a full-time job, and their whole life kind of depends and revolves around the mood of how their hockey's going. Um, and for me, I think like the young kids in Minnesota, it's such a cool place to grow up and get to play high school hockey, youth hockey there, all the above, like we talked about. And so just being able to kind of take every moment you have with all that and have fun and enjoy it, because I think everybody plays a little bit better and enjoys it more when you're having fun. So I think taking that each level of Minnesota hockey in general, just one step at a time, and kind of make the most of it all. That's my biggest advice to everybody.
For sure, for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, yeah. I think that's you look at like the NHL guys, and you look at I think the biggest example is Marc-Andre Fleury, with just how much fun he has in that, or when he was before he retired, is thanking the posts for the shot clanking off of it,
Yep.
and he's pranking his teammates, like he's that's his job. He's getting paid millions of dollars to do it, but he's still messing around, and if they can do
Totally.
that at that level, you can have fun with it at the at the youth level too.
For sure. For sure.
So yeah, that'll do it for our time here today. Thank you for taking the time today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you to Nick for taking the time to sit down and talk with us today. We wish him the best of luck in the rest of his season. Thank you for watching this episode. Leave a like if you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this one, and comment down below who you want to see next on 301 Banter. We'll see you next time. Peace.